aid since the G7 was established 50 years ago. And this is from Oxfam. In short, in today's context, a perfect storm is brewing. Just as trade becomes more unpredictable, external support through aid is also shrinking.
Now we go to this discussion with our guest Jayjit Bhattacharya. He's an economist and finance expert. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to NewsX World. How does ongoing uncertainty from trade barriers affect developing countries differently compared to developed countries or economies? Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So how does ongoing uncertainty from trade barriers affect developing countries differently compared to developed economies, according to you?
If you look at the new round of tariffs which has been put, and you look at the names of countries over there, it includes countries like Myanmar, Laos, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and so on, which were really tethering and has a huge number of poor people. And there was a large workforce which dependent on exports to US. Now with these trade tariffs coming in, it really impacts almost the backbone of these countries because a large number of workers will get displaced. And therefore the multiplier effect, the secondary and tertiary effects of these workers not being able to buy things will have a significant impact on their economies. But if you look at the more developed economies, let's say Europe for that matter, or Western Europe to be more precise, they have the ability to diversify. They themselves have a large market, and therefore the impact that will have on the developed Western economies is significantly different from the impact and the nature of impact that will happen on the less developed economies because of the impact that these jobs or job losses that will have on those respective economies, and therefore the developing economies or the less developed economies will bear a significantly more brunt of the vacillations on the tariffs that the U.S. president is putting in.
And now, what role can regional trade agreements and domestic processing play in helping countries navigate these current global trade disruptions, according to you?
Well, the domestic consumption may not necessarily help smaller countries like, Myanmar, Laos, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Cambodia, and so on, because their domestic market is very small. And therefore, it is necessary that they start integrating. And when they start integrating economically, that's where the regional trade agreements start playing a more important role, because each of these entities start getting a market access, which is critical for them. So, let's say Myanmar is good in fisheries, and that's what Cambodia needs, and Cambodia needs fishes, and the usual trade that happens. So Myanmar can then start exporting to Cambodia, which will then take care of the loss of market in US, and the other way around. Cambodia can start exporting, let's say, wood back to Myanmar, and so on and so forth. So new markets have to get created through regional trade agreements, and each of these economies do not really have a deep domestic market to be able to support the kind of growth that they need.
Thank you very much, Jayjit Bhattacharya, for joining us today and sharing your insight. Now we move on to our next news. The Ukraine Recovery Conference